In today's video, I will be going over the most loved Fortnite remakes slash reskins versus the most hated. Throughout Fortnite's history, we have gotten many remakes and reskins, and some have looked better than the original skins to be honest, and others not so much. Also for this video, I will be sticking with original Fortnite skins only, so I will not be including collabs unless they're mashups like Pilverine for example, but I'd like to read your opinion, so comment down below some of your favorite Fortnite reskins. If you enjoy my videos, be sure to use code TuneSpider in the Fortnite item shop to support me, and now let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start with the 10th most loved Fortnite remake skin, and that's going to be going to Summit Seeker Eevee. To be honest with you, I'm not very surprised that there is an Eevee skin here in the top 10. I feel like when it comes to her, especially like her original skin, she's a very liked character, and her Apprentice Eevee skin that we just got almost made it into this top 10 actually. But when it comes to the Summit Seeker design, I like it, but I don't love it. It's not my favorite Eevee skin by any means, but I think it's perfect for Winterfest. I do think it's cool that she's like going to a resort to like maybe go snowboarding or skiing. I think that's fun, and I love that they kept her colors. So now this one is mainly white and blue, but there is a little bit of red with the goggles and the bracelet. I also think it's interesting that they gave her a different hair color. I think it looks pretty good, and I do think this is a pretty good skin. But moving on to the 10th most hated Fortnite remake slash reskin is going to Rotten Penny. Poor Penny, but I'm kind of not surprised with this at all. It's not like any of her skins have been the most well received skins, but when it comes to the Rotten Penny, this is for Fortnitemares, and she has a little bit of the Ghoul Trooper design to her, so she has kind of like that Fortnite zombie look from the early chapter 1 days. Her outfit is all right. I mean, there's nothing crazy about the skin, let's be real. Do I think it should be in the top 10 most hated? I don't know about that, but it definitely wouldn't be in my most loved. I will say I do like the little spider belt buckle, but that's a little bit of biasness there. But moving on to the 9th most loved skin, this is going to be Night Conquerors. So we actually got the skin not that long ago in OG Season 2. This was in the Battle Pass. And I mean, so many people were anticipating for a Black Knight remix, and I think they nailed it, to be honest. I think this is such a tough skin. I love the design, love the fire coming out of the eye. The black and red and the gold and black armors look very good in my opinion. And I think it did a good job showing like parts of the original skin, so the original Black Knight, but also making it its own and having that remake feel to it. Plus the night skins always look really cool in Fortnite, so I'm not surprised to see one of them here in the top 10. But I was a little surprised by the 9th most hated, and that is going to Prince Orin. Clearly people don't like Orin as much as they like Lexa, which I think kind of makes sense. I think Lexa is a little bit of a better design. And to add on to this, the original Orin skin is actually rated worse than Prince Orin. Now when it comes to the skin, I don't mind the design. Like I think the shirt looks pretty cool. I like the gold trim to it, but overall the skin just looks pretty boring. And I think because people prefer Lexa, that's kind of hurt his ratings a little bit as well. But next is the 8th most loved skin, and that is going to Outlaw Midas, which we just got in the Chapter 6 Season 2 Battle Pass. And honestly, between this skin and Ascendant Midas, those are my favorite when it comes to Midas. He's had quite a bit of remakes and reskins, but I really think the Outlaw Midas stands out. I love the look and the design. I never thought we would see Cowboy Midas, but I'm really glad we got a skin for it. I think it looks pretty cool. And the other styles are great. We got a callback to Shadow and Ghost, so we got a black outfit and we got a white outfit. I like the new hair for him. Overall, I just love the comeback of Midas, and I like his role in the story right now. I think it's very interesting, and I'm curious to see where it progresses. But moving on to the 8th most hated, and this is going to Snow Stealth Sloan. I'm honestly not surprised by this because I know she's one of the lowest rated crew skins already. So seeing her as like one of the lowest rated remake skins kind of made sense. You do get two styles with her, but they're just super basic. I mean, she's just in a snow outfit. That's all there really is. And don't get me wrong, I don't think the skin is terrible by any means, but I definitely think it's her worst design out of all of her skins. And like I mentioned, it's just boring. There's nothing unique or special about it, so I can see why it dropped into the top 10 most hated. But moving on to one of my favorite skins on this list. So at number 7, the most loved is Shadowblade Hope, and they nailed it with this design. In my opinion right now, this is the best Hope skin, one of the best female skins in general from a battle pass. Honestly, I would say in the game, I think this design is peak. The other styles where you have the full mask on and the hood, because if you remember her original skin, she has the beanie that has the little cat ears. So I love that callback, and overall this is just such a tough skin. This looks so sick, and she looks really good with the super styles as well. In all of the styles, whether it's her base one where she just has the mask and her hair up, or the lilac shadow, that one is really cool. It has great detailed in design to it, and I love like the claw toes. I think those look really sick. And then the Demon Hunter style is peak as well. I love the black and blue colors. Overall, I think this is an amazing skin, and I'm definitely happy to see this made it into the top 10 most loved. But unfortunately, we have to move on to the number 7th most hated, and this is going to Gilded Scully. I'm like surprised and not surprised by this. I think a lot of people didn't really care to see another remake for her. The colors aren't terrible, I just feel like the gold doesn't really go with that red and silver. Overall, I don't think it's a bad skin, but the gold definitely makes it look off, and I just don't think it was needed, which is why I think it's at number 7. But next up at number 6 most loved is a familiar character, and that's Shadow Midas. So yes, Midas got 2 skins on this list, which is pretty crazy. Kind of not surprised because he's super popular, and I mean this is a great skin as well. Perfect for Fortnitemares. I love the purple glow so much. This is actually one of my favorites as well when it comes to the Midas skin, probably in my top 3. I love the purple glow over the tattoos. You even got the purple pistols, which is really cool, and then the glowing eyes with the scar. I mean, this is a great design. I am not surprised at all to see it in the top 10. But moving on to the 6th most hated goes to Frost Storm Bomber, and I'm like surprised but not surprised. The reason why I'm surprised is because this looks like a sweat skin. This just looks like a version of Ruby but a bomber instead, so I'm kind of surprised to see it drop so low. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because we've gotten this skin so many times and we have so many bomber skins that I feel like people are probably just tired of this design and tired of the bomber skins in general, unless they do something very unique like Bright Raider, for example. This was released during Winterfest, which makes sense based on the design of the skin. I don't think it's anything special. I don't know if I'd go to say top 10 most hated, but I definitely don't think it's that good, which is why part of me thinks it makes sense that it's in the top 10 most hated. But moving on to the top 5 most loved, I actually mentioned this character a little bit ago, and that is Lexa Hexbringer. So this is the Fortnitemares version for Lexa, and I think this is her best skin. At least in my opinion, this is my favorite Lexa skin. I really like both styles, love the fall Halloween vibes, and I mean that nightshade style is so good. Overall, I think this is a good skin. I don't know personally if it would be in my personal top 10, but I can see why it is for the community. And like I mentioned, this is my favorite skin for her, so I think it's cool to see it in the top 10. But moving on to the 5th most hated, this is going to Amber Moxie. And I'm gonna be real with you, you probably don't even remember this skin, because I didn't. It took a little bit of research to find her, but she is a remake or a reskin from the Moxie skin way back in the day. And I mean, there's really nothing that I like about this skin. I don't really like the design, I don't like the colors. It is only an 800 V-Bucks skin though, so that kind of makes sense why it's a little more on the simple side. I do think her hood on style is a little better. I think it looks a little cooler, but it's still just not a skin I would ever want to use. So I can see why it's in the top 10 most hated. Moving on to number 4 most loved, and this skin actually held the title for the most loved for a longest time, and I could definitely see this skin moving back into the first spot after a while, and that goes to Agent Peely. I mean, this is peak. This is my favorite Peely skin by far. I love seeing Peely in a suit. I think it's hilarious. He looks so fresh, especially with the white coat. I think it looks so sick. Perfect for chapter 2 season 2. Overall, I think this is just a top tier remake or a reskin for Peely, who has gotten so many, by the way, over the years, but it makes sense because he is one of Fortnite's mascots. But moving on to the 4th most hated, this is going to Mystery Zone, who's a remake for Hot Zone. And to be completely honest with you, I don't mind the skin. I actually kind of like the design. I like the white and silver and like the dark gray colors to it. I like the helmet. The hood on is pretty cool. It's only 800 V-Bucks. I actually don't understand why it's so low. Maybe it's because people didn't want to see a remake of this skin. That's really the only thing that I can think of. But as of right now, this is the 4th most hated. But now we're moving into the top 3, which I'm really excited for because I think these are incredible skins for the most loved, and I think it makes sense that they're rated so high. So at number 3 is the Visitor, which is the one we just got in this OG pass. I mean, this was a perfect remake for the Visitor. It can always be nerve-wracking remaking important storyline characters, but they nailed it in my opinion. I actually like this design more than the original, and I think both styles are very good. I really like the stealth style. I think it looks cool. Of course, you have the different helmet designs you can do, which I think is cool, and I think they did a good job making it feel like the OG, but also giving a remake to it, similar like what they did with Night Conqueror. I'm personally a fan of this skin. I actually think it's one of the best 7 designs now, and I love seeing it in the top 3. But next up for the 3rd most hated goes to Gilded Verge, and I think this is similar to Mystery Zone. I mean, for starters, his original skin isn't well received. It doesn't have a high rating. The colors are pretty cool. The pink throws it off a little bit with the gold and black, but not enough for me to hate the skin personally, but I could see why people don't like that color scheme. So I don't think it deserves to be like the third most hated, but I can also understand why at the same time. But we're gonna move on to the second most loved, and I think this is one of the coolest remakes in my opinion, and this is an example where it's definitely better than the original, and this is Mask Maker Daigo. I mean, this is peak. In my opinion, everything about Daigo so far has been amazing in chapter 6. I do feel bad for the guy, and I do hope he can be saved, but the small details to this skin are just chef's kiss. Just the fact that the mask alone is attached to his face now, with the corrupted armor he has, really cool. He has these like bright blue glowing eyes. There's masks all over the design. The cracks of gold look really sick. I am a huge fan of this skin, and I definitely think it belongs in the top 3 most loved. And then at number 2 for the most hated goes to Ready Penny. So I've already talked about Penny a little bit. She got 2 skins in the most hated, similar how to Midas got 2 skins in the most loved. And this is a cel shaded anime style for Penny. I definitely think this is her worst skin. I'm just not a fan of the design at all. I don't think her cel shading looks that good. I don't like the weird scar that they try to do under the eye, and I don't like the outfit as well. I feel bad for Penny though. She got 2 skins in the top 10 most hated. That's rough. But before I move on to the number 1 most loved, I'm going to talk about the number 1 most hated, but before I do that, I'm going to list some honorable mentions that almost made it onto this list. Raptorian the Brave almost made it into the top 10. I actually don't mind this skin, so I'm glad to see it wasn't in the top 10. Battle Tiger, who is a remake for Battle Hound. I'm biased because I love tigers, so I'm glad to see this wasn't in the top 10. And then zombie superhero skins and zombie soccer skins. Some of them were rated super low, some weren't, so that's why I didn't include the whole group, but just know these are some of the most hated. But the number 1 most hated goes to Snow Opal. And yeah, there's not much to like about the Opal skin. They just didn't design it well. I'll say the colors of the jacket and the pants are pretty cool, but other than that, there's just really nothing to like about the skin. I mean, this is rated super low. It's one of the most least liked skins in the entire game. So hopefully one day they give Opal a skin that has a higher rating, because her original wasn't very well received either, which means they should probably just not do an Opal skin again. We're gonna move on to the number 1 most loved, but before I do that, some honorable mentions that almost made it in the top 10 for most loved. Omega Suit Alpha and Street Wave Technique from the most recent OG pass, Apprentice Eevee like I mentioned, and Beach Jewels, and Elite Zadie. All of them were super close, so I could see maybe in the future maybe they'll make it back into the top 10. But at number 1 goes to Mercenary Core, and I think this makes so much sense. People already really like the original Core skin, and I think this one is better. I think this is her best design. I really do think this is one of the best female skins in the game right now. Whether you have the coat on or off, whether you have the mask on or off, this design is amazing. I love that she's returned to the storyline. I think Sworn to the Darkness is fitting for her. The cracks of gold are great. The mask is super sick. Of course, we have a really cool blue glowing eye. There really isn't one single thing I dislike about this skin. I love it. I definitely think it's one of the best, and I think it's cool to see it's the highest ranked remake skin right now. I'm curious to see how long it keeps that top spot, or if Agent Peely will eventually retake his throne. But there you have it. Those are the most loved versus the most hated Fortnite remake slash reskins. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to join my Discord server, that link is going to be in the description, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.